Hi guys, so next what we're going to do is look at y is equal to x minus 2 times x minus 6, and we're going to try to graph this function. So we're going to try to graph a function given a factored function. So how do we do this? Simple. We know that this is taking the factored form. So this means that here I have x1 and here I have x2. So in other words, the factored form tells me I have a x minus x1, x minus x2, which means that anything that comes after this minus is the value of x1. So in this case, what comes after the minus is the 2 and the 6. And we know that our zeros, okay, so our zeros, or x-intercept, same idea, are basically going to be 2, 0, and 6, 0. Okay, so already I have 2 points, which is great. Okay, so 2, 0, and 6, 0. So if I were to make it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I'm doing it by 1. I have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, am I done? Of course not. Always important to place your axes as well, so x and y axes. So am I done? Of course not. As I said, we have found 2 points, but we need a bit more than just 2 points. So what else can we notice? We notice that a is equal to what? A is equal to 1, right? It's like as if I have a hidden 1 right here. So since a equals 1, that means that it is greater than 0, which means that my parabola will look like this. It will not look like this, okay? Because it will be going upward, okay? Since it is positive. Now, how else can I graph this function? Well, I could easily find the y-intercept. So we'll look at finding other points. So find the y-intercept. So the y-intercept is when, what is the value of y when x is 0? So I have y, here x is 0, so 0 minus 2 times 0 minus 6. That will give me minus 2 into minus 6, which is just 12. So my y-intercept is going to be 0, 12. So if I make this by 2, I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Right here. Okay. And can I find maybe another point that can help me out? Yeah, of course I can find other points. But what do you think we would need as well to help us find this parabola? We definitely need the vertex. So it's important to find the vertex as well. Now you might ask me, okay, how do I find the vertex, but I don't have any h or k? So that's when we're gonna try our best to find the vertex, okay? So here I'm going to ask you to pay very close attention. Let me actually do it on the other page, that way we have a bit more space. So we had y is equal to x minus 2, x minus 6. How do I find the vertex? So how to find the vertex from the factored form? Well, of course, there are very simple ways, okay? And I'm going to explain to you the simplest way. Now, if we remember correctly, our parabola has 2 values, 2 x values. So we have 2, 0 and 6, 0. So two x-intercepts. Now, it's super important to understand that the value of your vertex will be exactly between both of these x-intercepts, okay? The value that is here is always between both. So in other words, if I were to look at the value, so here we have hk. So k is my y and h is my x value. So the h or the x value will always be the middle of these two. In other words, it'll be almost like taking the average of both. So the value of h, or the point h, is simply taking x1 plus x2 divided by 2. So in this case, we have x1, we said is 2, and x2 is 6 divided by 2. So that's 8 divided by 2, which is simply 4. So h is going to be between both, so h is going to be equal to 4. And we already have a part of the vertex, okay? Very, very, very important to understand this idea here, okay? Now, given that h equals 4, is it easy for me to find the value of k? Of course. How do I do that? I plug it in the formula. So I have y is equal to, or into the rule, sorry. Y is equal to x minus 2, x minus 6. So now I want to find what is the value of y when x is equal to h. In this case, x is equal to 4. So 4 minus 2 into 4 minus 6 gives me y is equal to 2 into minus 2, and that is just minus 4. So we have found the point 4 minus 4, and that is simply our vertex. Okay, and it makes sense, right? Because the value of k is in the minus. Okay. So that being said, I have now found the value of my vertex. So I can go back here and we have found the vertex. We have found that the vertex is 4 minus 4, which I can just put here. So here is 2, so minus 2 and minus 4. Of course, this must be done by a ruler in order to be the most cautious possible. And so I can go ahead and start tracing. I can maybe add another point as well here. So suppose 6, 7, 8. So suppose x is 8. Another point. X equals 8. So y is going to be y equals 8 minus 2 times 8 minus 6. Again, I'm using the initial formula, x minus 2, x minus 6. In this case, I'm taking x to be 8. So I have 6 times 2, which is just 12. So when x is 8, y is 12. Just like we have 12 here when x is 0. And it makes sense because we have 2 and we have 2. So the formula will look something, or the function rather, will look something like this. And here we go. It's not exactly the same, and it's very not well written, drawn, but at the end of the day, that's the idea. So this here is the formula, is the graph of the function y is equal to x minus 2 times x minus 6.